Good morning and welcome. It is my honor to call this meeting of the Advisory Commission on Charter Schools to order at 9:30. Make a few announcements here. Members of the public who wish to make public comment may do so in person or by calling into the meeting. Public comment will be limited to 1 minute per person for each item. Members of the public wishing to make public comment in person should sign up on the sign-up sheets located on the tables in the back of the boardroom. California Department of Education staff will call up members of the public by name when it is time to take public comment. Individuals should form a queue behind the microphone at the back of the boardroom and wait for further direction from department staff prior to making public comment. Members of the public wishing to dial in for public comment should view the live stream of the meeting. The number and access code will be provided at the start of public comment for each item. Prior to making public comment, callers who are watching the meeting live webcast should make sure the volume on their computer is muted to avoid echoing sounds during the call. When it is a caller's turn to make public comment, the caller will hear a voice announcement that says that they are unmuted. Another announcement will be made when a caller's time for public comment has ended. To call in for public comment, dial 717-908-1926 and use access code 1166083#. I will repeat those numbers often. So now let's go ahead and move on to the flag salute. And I'm going to invite Commissioner Taylor, unannounced, to lead us in that. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, Commissioner Taylor. All right, so I want to welcome everyone here in the room and those watching the live stream to the December 2025 meeting of the State Board of Education's Advisory Commission on Charter Schools. At this time, I'm going to acknowledge that our state liaison board vice president Cynthia Glover Woods and member Sharon Olkin are joining us on Zoom. Commissioners Erica Jones and Todd Fennell will also be participating remotely. So I will call on each of the commissioners in just a moment and have you please just simply tell us who you are and who you are representing. So let's begin with Commissioner Brazil.
Helio Brazil, I'm superintendent in Keys and represent superintendents.
And Commissioner Taylor.
Hi, everybody. Matt Taylor, superintendent of the California Montessori Project, and I represent charter schools.
And Commissioner Crow.
Hi, Andrew Crow, Deputy Director, Scholarship Prep. I represent parents.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Rick Reyes, representing the State Superintendent of Public Instruction.
And Commissioner Fennell.
Good morning, everybody. Todd Fennell, representing California County Superintendents.
And looking for Commissioner Jones, who I don't see on the screen.
I'm here.
I hear you. Okay, now I know you're here. So Commissioner Jones.
Erica Jones, kindergarten teacher, representing teachers.
And I am, oh, there you are. And I am Mike Walsh, representing governing boards of school districts from the Butte County Office of Education. So we're going to move on to reviewing and adoption of meeting notes. And we have a little bit of some housekeeping to take care of first. The commission inadvertently reapproved the April 2025 meeting minutes at the last meeting instead of approving the June 2025 meeting minutes. So, and Commissioner Reyes was not present at that meeting and therefore won't be asked to, really recommending that you're abstaining is what our assumption is. So what we'll do is we're going to take care of those things in the correct order. So what I am looking for is a motion to approve the June 2025 meeting minutes.
Move to approve the June minutes.
So Commissioner Brazil moved to approve. I have a second.
I'll second.
And Commissioner Crow with the second. And so we will take roll call vote. So Commissioner Brazil, how do you vote? Aye. Commissioner Crow?
Aye.
Commissioner Fennell?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner Reyes, your official?
Abstain.
Commissioner Taylor? And I vote as aye also. So it carries unanimously. Thank you. Now we'll move on to motion number 2 for the August 12th, 2025 meeting. So looking for a motion and a second to approve those meeting notes.
Move to approve.
So that was Commissioner Taylor, all right, and second is Commissioner Brazil. So the motion is to approve, and let's see, let's go with, again, roll call. Commissioner Brazil? Aye. Commissioner Crowe?
Aye.
Commissioner Fennell?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner Reyes?
Aye.
And Commissioner Taylor? And myself, I also vote aye. Meeting minutes adopted, or excuse me, approved or adopted unanimously. All right. Now we get to business current. So we will take general public comment after the Charter Schools Division update. Members of the public who wish to make general public comment by phone for items that are not part of the ACCS agenda, you may dial in now. Please call 717-908-1926 and use access code 1166083#. You must enter that access code. Again, that is 1166083# to be added to the caller queue. Callers making public comments should make sure the volume on their computer is muted to avoid echoing sounds during the call. So at this point, Commissioner Reyes, please give us Charter Schools update.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Let's see, some clerical pieces or administrative pieces coming up. We have the non-classroom-based funding determination deadline for existing non-classroom-based charter schools coming up February 1st, which will mean the large amount coming before this commission in April. And several updates for our public charter school grant program, or PCSGP. We just closed the round 2 of applications for startup grants, receiving 5 applications for new, replicating, or expanding charter schools. And existing subgrantees are currently submitting annual reports and requesting as support for requests for additional funding. Our new program, the Statewide Technical Assistance for Charter Schools, or STACS grant program, the grant and award notifications are pending. And this program is an effort to deliver to support charter schools in delivering high-quality education programs and improve outcomes for students, providing technical assistance, or in other words, free professional development, opportunities focusing on 5 designated topic areas: English learners, special education, socioeconomically disadvantaged students, career and technical education, and innovative strategies. We are now able to announce our proposed subgrantees pending final approval. We have Loyola Marymount University's Center for Equity for English Learners, providing technical assistance on English learners. For CTE, we have the Orange County Department of Education. For socioeconomically disadvantaged students and innovative strategies, we have the Santa Clara County Office of Education in partnership with the Charter School Development Center. And for special education, we have West Ed. And so we're very excited to get those subgrantees started providing these learning opportunities for charter schools in our state. For the Charter Authorizer Support Initiative, or CASI, there will be a few trainings coming up. One coming up January 23rd is on the topic of dependent charter schools, a topic that doesn't get a whole lot of attention, but is definitely an area where authorizers can use some support in having effective and successful partnerships with their dependent charter schools. And coming up also in January is a special training titled Beyond the Moratorium, Essential Non-Classroom-Based Charter School Oversight, with the non-classroom-based charter school, the temporary prohibition, or what we usually refer to as the moratorium, ending on January 1st. We are taking this opportunity, responding to requests from authorizers to have a training on oversight for non-classroom-based charter schools. For any additional information on any of this, best way to find it is to just go to the CDE website and do a search in the search feature in the top right-hand corner, or you can always just email the Charter Schools Division at charters@cde.ca.gov. All right, thank you.
All right, there we are, I am lit. All right, so thank you very much, Commissioner Reyes. Those actually sounds like something I might want to attend as well. So at this time, we are going to, let me find my spot again. All right, so we'll go ahead and take general public comment at this time. And we will take public comment first from anyone in the room. CDE staff, do we have anyone for making public comment?
There's nobody signed up.
Okay. So at this point, we will go ahead and take general public comment from callers on the phone. Or do we have anyone on the phone? Perfect. We will give them 1 minute. Please take over.
Caller with the last four digits, 1994. You will have 1 minute. You are now live. You may begin.
Good morning, Chair Walsh and Commissioner members. My name is Nancy Mowry, and I'm a first grade teacher here on behalf of the California Teachers Association. CTA has continued ongoing concerns with the funding determination process. The process is flawed and does not provide the level of transparency needed for your commission or the SBE to provide appropriate public oversight on these funding determinations. We question whether your commission is provided enough evidence to justify a need for 100% funding determination. CTA is not necessarily opposed to the school in either agenda item receiving full funding. We just want to use this as an opportunity to raise concerns with the process overall. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, caller. There are no other callers in the queue.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. So at this time, we will go ahead and, as you heard, there are two items that we get to consider today. The ACS will review two charter school determination of funding requests. So at this time, we're going to invite Jonathan Yu to come forward and he'll update us on this matter. And one thing I want to say is just people who are wishing to make public comment by phone for this item, you should call in at this time, dial 717-908-1926, and use access code 1166083 # when prompted. Again, you must enter access code 1166083 # to be added to that caller queue. So I see Jonathan is here at the podium. So Jonathan, please go right ahead and present. Hang on, we're checking to see if we have your volume.
Hello?
We're gonna check in the room. We're not sure if we're hearing you.
Hello? I think this one works.
All right.
Hello. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jonathan Yu. I'm with the Charter Schools Division of the California Department of Education, here to present item 1, which is a retroactive, non-classroom-based funding determination request. We'll briefly go over a summary of the issue prior to the item. A charter school may receive funding for its non-classroom-based instruction only if a determination of funding is made by the California State Board of Education pursuant to California Education Code, Section 47612.5. Regulations shall specify that non-classroom-based instruction is conducted for the instructional benefit of pupils and is substantially dedicated to that function. The SBE shall consider, among other factors, the following: the amount of the charter school's total budget expended on certificated employees' salaries and benefits and on school sites, and also the pupil-teacher ratio of the charter school. Pursuant to California Code of Regulations, Title V, Section 11963.6C, an existing non-classroom-based charter school shall submit a determination of funding request by February 1st of the fiscal year prior to the year the funding determination will be effective. If the deadline is missed, a charter school must obtain an approved waiver from the SBE to waive the regulatory deadline. The SBE approved a waiver for Elk Grove Charter School, charter number 0027, at its September 2025 meeting, which allowed the charter school to submit a retroactive funding determination request. This item considers a retroactive funding determination request from that school. This CDE proposes to recommend that the SBE approve the determination of funding request from Elk Grove Charter for 100% funding for 2 years as specified in Attachment 1. California Code of Regulations Title V, Section 11963.4A outlines the eligibility requirements and criteria for funding for non-classroom-based instruction and provides that charter schools shall be funded pursuant to applicable regulations unless there is a reasonable basis to recommend otherwise. Elk Grove Charter meets the criteria for 100% funding as detailed in Attachment 1, and the table on the slide illustrates the criteria in the regulations. A Funding determinations shall be in increments of 2 to 5 years pursuant to California Code of Regulations, Title V, Section 11963.4C. Education Code Section 47612.5D2 states that a charter school that has achieved a rank of 6 or greater on the Academic Performance Index for the preceding 2 years shall receive a 5-year determination. Elk Grove Charter School requested a funding period of 2 years. Therefore, the CDE proposes to recommend that the SB approve the determination of funding request from Elk Grove Charter School for 100% funding for 2 years, as specified in Attachment 1. That concludes my presentation. I'm here for any questions from the commission.
All right, thank you. So, before we ask any questions, any clarifying questions, I'm going to give the public an opportunity to comment. Are there any callers on the phone?
Yes, there's one caller.
Public comment is still limited to 1 minute per speaker. Please begin.
Okay, caller with the last 4 digits, 1994. You will have 1 minute. You are now live. You may begin. The caller hung up.
Okay. That happens. Is there anyone else that you have on the line?
No further callers in the queue.
All right. So, is there anyone in the room who wishes to make public comment?
Yes, if Nicholas could please line up by the podium in the back. Oh, perfect. Before you begin, please state your name and affiliation for the record. You will have 1 minute. You may begin your public comment now.
Morning, members of the commission. I'm Nicholas Watson, speaking on behalf of the California Charter Schools Association. Just briefly wanted to thank CDE staff for their work on this matter and to say that we support the staff recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on now, seeing there is no one else. All right, so commissioners, this is our opportunity to ask any clarifying questions, or we will entertain a motion, all of the above.
Just had one quick question on the years. Is this is for 24-25 and 25-26?
Yes, as stated in the attachment, our recommendation is 100% for 2 years for the period of 2025 to 26 through 26-27.
So it's not 24-25.
Yeah, the charter school put that in the original request, but we contacted the charter school for clarification, and they meant 25-26 through 26-27.
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve based on the recommendation of the CDE.
Okay, so hold 1 second. I'm going to let Matt finish his questions, and then we'll jump back.
Confused about the memo, because the memo says the source data was 23-24. So it seems like that would apply to 24-25 and 25-26.
No, it would be for 25-26 because for these funding determinations for existing non-classroom-based charter schools, they request funding for, it's a prospective, it's for future funding.
I guess, but in your attachment 2 says determination of funding request 24-25.
Yeah, that's the name of the form. Because this is a retroactive request, it was submitted late, so it was using that old form. That's why it has 24-25. It's the name of the form.
Did you review 24-25 audited financials or any 24-25 data, or were you relying on 23-24 data for this?
It was 23-24 data as stated in the attachment, which is the case for all the other schools that were in that same cycle.
So for schools that we approved for 25-26, we relied on 23-24 data?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because most schools getting approved for 25-26 would have been applying in the spring. So the 23-24 fiscal year would have been the most recent audit available. And so because this is retroactive, it feels weird.
Yeah.
It's so far
Okay.
back, yeah.
Okay. I was just, the dates didn't make sense because the form title seemed wrong and.
Yeah, the form is just the name of the.
Right, yeah.
Okay. In the future, it would be helpful for some clarification, maybe in the memo to explain that to the commissioners, because it was when I was reading it this weekend, I was like, this doesn't quite jive. So I just wanted to, so for public transparency, I think that would be really helpful. Yeah, thank you.
All right, Commissioner Fennell, I believe you were making a motion.
Yes, I move that we approve the recommendation from the CDE.
All right, and is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second is Commissioner Taylor. All right. The recommendation is 100% funding for Elk Grove. And let's see here, find my list here. So let's go ahead and do a roll call vote. Commissioner Brazil?
Aye.
Commissioner Crow?
Aye.
Commissioner Fennell?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones?
I'm going to abstain.
Abstain. And Commissioner Reyes?
Aye.
And Commissioner Taylor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So motion passes with one abstention. All right. Moving along to item number 2. Once again, people wishing to make public comment by phone for this item should call in at this time. Please dial 717-908-1926 and use access code 1166083# when prompted. You must enter access code 1166083# to be added to the caller queue. We'll go ahead and invite Jonathan Yu back to the podium. He's already there to tell us about a reconsideration of a non-classroom-based funding determination. So, Jonathan.
Item number 2 is a reconsideration of a non-classroom-based funding determination. Pursuant to California Code of Regulations, Title 5, Section 11963.6G, during the effective period of a charter school's determination of funding, the charter school may seek a higher or lower determination of funding. The charter school may not request a change in the number of years approved. The reconsideration request would replace the determination of funding then in effect. This item presents a reconsideration request from Santa Rosa Academy, charter number 0730. The charter school currently has an active funding determination that was approved by the SBE at its May 2024 meeting for 70% funding for the period of 2024-25 through 2025 through 26. The charter school is requesting that its funding determination be increased from 70% to 100%. The CDE proposes to recommend that the SB approve Santa Rosa Academy's reconsideration request to increase the charter school's current funding determination from 70% to 100% for the period of fiscal year 2024-25 through 2025-26 as specified in Attachment 1. This is the same table as you saw in Item 1, and according to the eligibility, the funding criteria, Santa Rosa Academy meets the criteria for 100% funding as detailed in Attachment 1. This is a comparison with the previous request. Both requests are based on fiscal year 22-23 data. Total revenues and total expenditures are identical to the previous request. The reconsideration request reports an increase in instruction-related staffing expenses, an increase in the reported hours for non-classroom-based pupils at the school site, and a decrease in reported administrative expenses. The charter school states that the reconsideration request reflects updated interpretations, improved methodology, and incorporates external feedback that ensures a closer alignment with financial reporting expectations. The charter school's independent auditor concurs that the revenues and expenditures reported in the reconsideration request are correctly supported in the general ledger and agree in total with the audited 2022-23 financial statements as seen in Attachment 4. Therefore, the CDE proposes to recommend that the SBE approve Santa Rosa Academy's reconsideration request to increase the charter school's current funding determination from 70% to 100% for the period of fiscal year 2024-25 through 2025-26 as specified in Attachment 1. That concludes my presentation. I'm here for any questions from the commissioners.
Before we take questions from the commissioners, we'll check and see if there are any public commenters on the phone for this item.
There's nobody in the queue.
All right. Do we have anyone in the room? I see someone approaching the microphone.
Yes, Nicholas Watson, please proceed to the podium. Before you begin, please state your name and affiliation for the record. You will have 1 minute. You may begin your public comment now.
Nicholas Watson from CCSA. We support the staff recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. All right. It is now to the commissioners. Do we have any clarifying questions for Jonathan?
I have a few questions, if you don't mind. So just to clarify, so we're using 2022-23, data for this. I guess my questions are asking for a little more clarification, if possible, on, the genesis of, how this school discovered maybe some wrong classifications. Do we know if it was the same audit firm that, that did their, 20 fiscal year, 22, 23 audit? That is also, this auditor is the same financial team. Just seems a little peculiar just on first glance, to go from 66% calculation to just over the 80% threshold 2+ years later in like a forensic accounting piece. So is any more clarification on how this came about and then the process they used to determine that some of these were, some of these previous expenditures were instructional related?
Yeah, thank you for your question. I'm not really sure the answer to that question about whether it's a different auditing firm, but the CDE has no reason to doubt the auditor's information.
Any further questions?
No, I appreciate it.
Any other commissioners?
I have a question. Chair
Commissioner
Walsh, I
Fennell.
have a question. Yeah, so just for clarity, would this be looking backwards? So if this were to be approved, would it apply to the 24-25 year and 25-26, or is it from this moment, once it's approved by the state board, then it's enacted moving forward?
If this reconsideration request is approved, it would replace the whole funding determination, so it would apply to the 2024-25 year as well.
So they would receive the difference from their previous funding level to the current funding level and some sort of payment for 24-25?
Correct. They would receive 100% as opposed to 70% for that year.
Okay. And if I'm reading the application properly, it looks like they have about, I'm looking at their reserves, about 14 million in reserves. Is that correct?
If it's stated.
Ending fund balance of just over 14 million.
Yes.
Commissioner Fennell, he responded with yes. Did you catch that?
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking. Thank you. No further comments
All right.
or questions.
Any other questions, or I will entertain a motion?
I don't have a question. I just want to make a comment. I have a large concern with just the documentation for this. I think that, going back, a number of years and having a jump, I would love to have seen just more documentation on maybe what some of those reclassifications were. There is, language in there that the school, I apologize, that the school, an increase in the reported hours, for the pupils, an increase in instruction-related staffing, a decrease in reported administration expenses. Those are clearly articulated from as the reasons for this. So I think seeing some of those reasons would have been, super beneficial. And I guess I do have one question. If you can provide any clarity on the attachment 3. These are, looks like maybe outstanding, payments or debts. Do you have any idea on how this, why this was presented as an attachment and how it ties into the recalculations?
Yeah, for all funding determination requests, we ask for a list of entities and contracts that are above 50,000 or a certain percentage, and that's asked of all charter schools that submitted the request. The reason it's an attachment is because it's there are over 20 of them, and the form has a limit of 20, so that's why the attachment was provided.
Thank you.
So just to clarify on this, this is just more of a due diligence to find out if there's like conflicts of interest or something like that. This is not, wasn't used as part of the calculation of their 80%.
Correct.
Okay. So what is this? What would this be an extension of? Attachment 2?
The attachment that was referred to, it's part of the funding determination form. On the form, all schools report entities and contracts above a certain threshold. And the form has a limitation. It only allows for 20 entries. So if a school has over 20 that needs to report, we ask them to provide an attachment.
Is that attachment presented to us with the list of the first 20?
The 20, that's for the 20 on the attachment 3, I believe.
I guess I've just never seen it before. So where would that normally go in our packet?
It would be usually in attachment 2. In attachment 2, it says somewhere over 20 somewhere, and it says see attachment 3. That's where it would usually be.
Jonathan, is it separated because of the way we changed the form where it used to be a single PDF and now there's a Word doc?
No, but even back when it was a PDF, that PDF form only had a certain number of spaces. So in that case, we would ask for attachment in that case too. It's just that they had a lot to report. That's why there was an additional attachment. But it's a part of the form.
I guess, can you show me on what page on attachment 2 I would find the place that says
Number of reportable entities.
Yeah. Where is that at?
One moment.
Yeah, no problem. Number, oh, I see it on page 8, entity and contract information. It says number of reportable entities over 20. I guess I've never seen us like list out all the entities like that. I guess that's what's confusing me and maybe confusing Commissioner Crowe is I've never seen it listed. Like here's, they paid Apple $1 million. I've never seen it listed like that, but maybe it is in previous versions.
Yeah, just to follow up on that one, I get right, it's over 20, so that's why it's included. But it feels like an arbitrary to include it for this one, and not, someone could have 20, and this one has 21, so this one's included. So I would just, for me, it was just it caused a little bit of confusion as to follow up on Commissioner Taylor's piece. This doesn't relate to the reclassification to get them over 80%.
No, it's just a part of the form. You didn't see it for item 1 because that school didn't report any entities, but it's common for schools to report entities, and it would be in attachment 2 usually, but it's just because it was over 20.
Got it.
Further questions?
Chair Walsh, I have some clarifying questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Jonathan, I'm looking at the financial information section 2 of the attachment, and under state revenues, it's listed as just over 19 million. Is that at the 70%, or is that what it would be at the 100%?
That's the 70%.
That's the 70%. Okay. So I guess what I'm struggling a little bit with the looking backwards because what I'm seeing is that, at 19 million of state revenue, they were able to operate the program in the past and have 14 million of an ending balance to date. I probably am less concerned about approving it moving forward, but this application, if I'm understanding it correctly, is for the 24-25 and the current 25-26 school year. And it would retroactively apply, would increase that 19 million, which represents 70% of funding, to 100% funding. What would that number be?
I don't have the number off the top of my head, but it would, like you said, it would increase to 100%. And because the charter school meets the regulatory criteria for 100% funding, our proposed recommendation reflects that fact.
Right, but if I'm understanding correctly, Jonathan, they meet that threshold or that criteria today, retroactively modifying or changing the way they reported the information in the past. Correct?
Anything else, Commissioner Fennell? We can tell you're working through something.
I'm good. Like I said, I just have concerns about going back in time when it appears, from what I have access to, it appears that they were able to successfully operate the program from a revenue and expenditure basis up until now. And so I'm just I'm trying to reconcile, why we should go back in time based on information that was provided by the charter at that time. But it's my struggle. I'll work through it.
And I think I'm struggling with something similar, Commissioner Fennell, on section 7 of the report of attachment 2 on page 13, that the auditor states that they're going to submit a finding related to this. So can you explain a little bit more about what that means?
There has,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, there hasn't been a finding that I'm aware of yet, but they said that they're looking into it. It would be based on, because on the previously submitted information for the previous request, that information doesn't match the one submitted for this reconsideration request. So that would be the basis of the finding if they did have a finding, but there hasn't been one yet.
Got it. Okay, because it says here in all caps that the school's auditors were also consulted in the review and will submit a finding on the 24-25 audit report. So what it sounds like, and just help me if I'm getting this correct, is the expenses were misclassified in 22-23, and when they reclassified them, they're submitting those for this funding determination, but there will be a finding on their audit that says they messed up in 22-23. So there is some public accountability. I guess what I'm struggling with is probably what Commissioner Fennell is struggling with, is like there's some public accountability for this school that they messed up in 22-23, and they're going to have that finding to have to deal with in the future. Is that your understanding in talking to them?
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Okay.
Appreciation for the consistency being voiced by the commissioners. Any other concerns? If not, I'll say it again. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve.
So the motion is increase funding from 70% to 100%, and Commissioner Brazil has made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Taylor with a second. And then we'll do a roll call vote. So Commissioner Brazil.
Aye.
Commissioner Crow.
No.
Commissioner Fennell.
No.
Commissioner Jones.
Abstain.
Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor. And I will cast that final vote of aye. So motion passes to increase funding from 70 to 100% by a vote of 3-2 with 1 abstention. All right. Thank you, everyone. So with that, again, I just want to say I appreciate the commissioners, the commission's concerns with transparency and clarity. I know sometimes the public may think that we are in a pro forma. It was mentioned once before several years ago, and I appreciate the fact that this is obviously not just pro forma, and that we all read through and have questions and we approach it from that space. So a tremendous amount of appreciation from me to the rest of the commission. Love the questions. Our next meeting is February 3rd. Between now and then, there are several holidays ahead of us. Please enjoy the holidays however you enjoy them. I, for one, I'm going to go try and do one more good deed, see if I can get a note for Santa to clarify that I got one good deed in this year. Be safe, be kind. There's a world out there that could use a little more love. So this is a great time for it. Everybody, please travel safely. Those of you joined us online, thank you again for your time. And we will see everyone February 3rd. This meeting is now adjourned.